Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Colorado Rockies franchise here on Out of the Park Baseball 22. The game is officially out, the full version. We are off the beta build. The full version is officially out and ready to purchase. If you are interested in purchasing this, if you're watching this video or even watching the series, you're like, wow, this game actually looks kind of cool. If you go in the description, there is a link to purchase it. So definitely go ahead and do that. I don't think you'll regret it. It is July 22nd, so I haven't moved at all since the last time I ended episode number 3. Just as a recap, we are 29 and 67. If we take a look at the standings, we are probably the worst team in baseball by a healthy margin, and we are the next worst team in the major leagues appears to be the Baltimore Orioles, who are 34 and 62. And then you have the Pirates at 36 and 60, the Cleveland at 39 and 58. And then you have some teams in the 40s, but we are by far the worst team in Major League Baseball in 2021. The YouTube assistant gyms. Oh, wait, before I get to that, we have reached over 100 subscribers. Woohoo, yeah, baby. Let's go. Clap it up. 100 subs. I want to thank all of y'all for the support you've shown on this series. I've said it the past 2 episodes, but it really makes me happy. And as I said, I'm not the only one that uses this channel. There's other content that goes up as well. So it makes all of us really happy to just see that we have a bigger audience now. And I hope that if you see other content that gets uploaded that's not OOTP, you'll give it a chance to see if you like it or not. But just we want to thank you all for subscribing. It really does mean a lot, and we're excited to see where everything can go. I'm excited to see where this OOTP series can go. Hopefully, I can make y'all proud by bringing a World Series to Colorado. The YouTube assistant general managers are still out in full force, so we got a few comments here from the last time that I recorded. These are some of the ones that I saw. So here's one. Since you got Roberto Perez, that's a trade that we made in the last episode, in case you missed it. It might be smart to sell high on Elias Diaz after an All-Star game appearance, and that could be the move. We take a look here. We'll go to Elias Diaz. As the comment said, he was our lone All-Star representative this season, and he has had a phenomenal year. He's definitely cooled off a bit in recent weeks, but still slashing 370, 407, 538, a 945 OPS, a 435 BABIP, which has gone down. I think it was over 500 at one point, but he's been a 2-win player this year, which is not anything that I expected. So that could be a good thing to do. Trade him while his value is, it's never going to be this high again. So this could be the way to go. I mean, you see his previous career high OPS in terms of Major League Baseball was 2020 with the Rockies. That was 641. It's at 945 this year. So this is probably just a fluke season. It's probably a little blip on his career radar. So that might be a good move to trade Elias Diaz, since we have Roberto Perez under contract, not just for the rest of this season, but also for next season as well. It's a team option for $7 million. I'm not against bringing him back for that amount, so I imagine he would be back as our catcher. Comment number 2. I think you should try to trade or sell Kella. In my save, I was able to get a top starting pitching prospect from the Nationals. And this is something that I brought up, and this would actually be a good way to kind of maximize our return. This is a guy that we got off of waivers, so basically for free, and he was on a cheap contract regardless. You can see with us, he has not really done very well, but, a 413 FIP, so I shouldn't say that. I mean, I think you can see recently he's been getting lit up. He had 2 bad appearances against the Dodgers, 1 against the Mariners. That was all at Coors. He was doing well before that. You can see his ERA was at 3.13, and it's since ballooned up a lot. So this could be a guy that we look to sell, as I said. Just a guy that we pick up off of waivers, and then we sell for some prospects, maybe just 1, maybe 2, I don't know. That could be a good thing to do as well. So we're going to examine that definitely. And then this is one that I meant to put in the last episode, but I forgot. If you can trade Trevor Story for more than a 24-pack of Dr. Pepper, then you'll be doing better than the real-life brass did with Arenado. And that is, I got a good chuckle out of that one. And that's correct. So if we take a look at Trevor Story, this is the guy that we've kind of been talking about since episode number 1. Should we keep him? Should we trade him? If we look to offer him a contract extension, his demand has gone up, but his years have gone down. So you remember he wanted, I think, like a 7 or 8 year deal. Now he only wants a 5-year deal, and he wants it with an average annual salary of $30.3 million. So he kind of wants it a little backloaded. He'd be making 26, 28, and then 32.5 for the final 3 years. The final year would be a player option. Typically don't like player options, but he is very unhappy. It says he's enjoyed playing on the team. Maybe we can work out a contract extension, but I feel like he kind of deserves better. When it comes to building a baseball team, I'm kind of of the mindset that there's never really any untouchable players. I think everyone's available for the right price, and we should examine all possibilities. And it is July 22nd. The deadline is in at the end of the month here, about a week and a half away. So now is the time. I think we are 29-67. There's nothing we can do to make this team even remotely good this year. We're not going to play close to 500 ball. If we take a look at our manager's office, that was one of the goals. We're not going to do that. He wanted us to upgrade at right field this season. I don't know how I'm going to go about doing that. We might just have to take a fat L on that goal. He did want us to sign Trevor Story to an extension. Listen, as I said, we're going to examine all possibilities. If I don't see a package that I like for Trevor Story, if it's just a bunch of garbage, it doesn't make sense to trade him. But if I see some intriguing prospect, or if I see some intriguing young major league ready talent that I can acquire to make this team better for 2022 and beyond, I'll do it. And that goes the same for all the other players on this roster as well. Guys like German Marquez. If I can get anything for Kyle Freeland, I doubt I will, but Yency Almonte, if there's a market for him. Brendan Rodgers, I'd say someone that if I get the right offer, he could be gone. He has not done as well as I wanted him to this season. 711 OPS. He hasn't really developed like I thought he would in real life, but I don't know. We'll see. As I said, it all depends on the package that we get in return. But I'm going to examine everything. I'm not going to show y'all everything because that would take a very long time, but I will go examine some trade offers. I might end up simulating just a few days here and there, but don't worry. When we come back, you'll see what moves I chose to make, what moves I didn't make, who's still on the roster, who we acquired, who we didn't acquire, and we're going to go through all that when we get back, so stay tuned. All right, so my OBS says I've been recording for 1 hour and 14 minutes. So if that just gives you a bit of an idea of how long I spent working with trades. We did make some trades. The roster did get overturned, and I will walk you through each trade that I made, why I made it. The issue with a team like this is you always want to try to, because I don't want to deliberately tank. But I when I look to make these trades, I try to find the best way to balance being the best team that we can be now, and then also trying to be the best that we can be in the future, not just next year, but 3 years, 5 years down the line. So that was kind of my mindset with these trades. As I said, there wasn't really anybody that I deemed was untouchable. I also like to kind of make the note every time that I do a series like this. I do try to keep things pretty realistic, but at the end of the day, this is a simulation game, so I don't want to, go 100% full realism every single time. It's just, I feel especially for a YouTube series, that might not be as entertaining. So I just want to put that out there. For the most part, I'll try to keep things as realistic as possible, but it is a game. So, I like to have fun too, which is why if I make some moves or trades, you're like, really? That might be why. I'm not saying it's anything outlandish, but it's not like I traded, I don't know, like Marquez for Mike Trout, right? But I always like to make that, I like to preface that before the first trade episode of the series. So with all that said, let's get on to the first trade. And this was the Big Blockbuster. So with all of these trades, I mainly prioritized getting either young, controllable pitching or just young, controllable whatever. If there are prospects available that I liked, I looked at them, but it was actually pretty hard to get some of the prospects that I wanted to get. So sometimes I kind of had to settle for maybe a little bit lesser, but still lottery ticket type prospect. And so the first trade is right here. We made 4 trades today, so I will say that. And Frostcrest, I'm sorry, buddy. I know you're going to be upset about this. You said that I should re-sign Trevor Story, and I really did think long and hard about it. But in the end, we do trade Trevor Story, Ezekiel Tovar, Jack Yalowitz, and Keone Kela to the Milwaukee Brewers for a package of Corbin Burns, Brett Conine, Drew Rasmussen, and Justin Tapa. So just a bunch of pitchers. The headliner of this deal is obviously Corbin Burns. He has been one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball this season. He's pitched to a 3.48 ERA, a 3.75 FIP. He struck out 120 batters. He's walked 46, and he started 19 games so far. The pitching grades really were appealing to me. The fact that he was a power pitcher appealed to me. The fact that he's only 26 years old, under team control for a long time. He only has 2 years of Major League service time appealed to me. And I think that hopefully this guy will be one of our long-term starting pitchers, guy that we can lock in. We know what we're going to get. And that was that. I could see you guys can see the other trade, so that wasn't supposed to happen. But Brett Conine, he was a former Astros prospect. They traded him to the Brewers, and then we got him as well. Another guy, he's not a power pitcher, but he sits 94 to 96. He's a ground ball pitcher. I think that maybe with the coaches that we have in the minor league, and at this case in AAA, I think that maybe he could develop into a back of the rotation starter, which is always valuable. I mean, any starter for Colorado is. And then we got a young reliever in Drew Rasmussen, who's only 25 years old. He was having a solid season with Milwaukee. And we got an older reliever 30 years old, who also was having a pretty solid go-around with the Brewers. So we added to our bullpen. We made it better. We added a top-flight starting pitcher, in my opinion, to our rotation. So that will hopefully make it better. And in the end, we did trade Trevor Story. It's the way I saw it, Milwaukee, they're in a tight playoff race. They needed a kickstart offensively more than they needed the pitching. They have enough pitching to get by still, but they really needed that kick offensively. I think Story can get them that. And then if they want to re-sign him after the season, they will be able to. But if not, Story will hit the free agent market. Maybe we examine that in the offseason. Maybe we examine just signing Trevor Story back. I don't know. But for right now, Trevor Story's time in Colorado is over, and we do get what we hope to be our ace starting pitcher for the future in Corbin Burns. The second trade we made, we went back to the St. Louis Cardinals one more time, and in this trade, we traded German Marquez, Jonathan Gray, and Brendan Rodgers. In return, we get Harrison Bader, Tommy Edmund, and Jordan Hicks. We tried to get Nolan Gorman. We tried to get their other starting pitcher, the prospect. Not able to do that. But I was pretty content with this package, and the reason for that is because Harrison Bader is going to really help what ails us in the outfield in terms of the defense. Our defense this season has been very, very poor, and Harrison Bader playing a very elite center field will help us out with that. He's not the most powerful hitter, or maybe not powerful is not the right word. He's not the best hitter out there, obviously, but I think that he can be good enough, especially playing half of his games in cores, and that the defense is going to be really helpful for us. So that's why I wanted to get Harrison Bader. He's a young guy, only 27. They signed him to a contract extension that's really cheap for what he brings to the table. And so we have him under control for a while, which I was excited about. We get Tommy Edmund, who I think every good team should have a guy like Tommy Edmund on their team. He has versatility, can play almost anywhere on the field, and he's pretty solid offensively as well. And I think playing in cores, his offensive numbers could probably get back to where he was in 2019 with the Cardinals when he kind of broke out, when he had an 850 OPS. So I'm excited to get Tommy Edmund. As I said, we can play him anywhere. We can play him. I'm comfortable putting him second base, third base, shortstop. I'm comfortable putting him in the outfield. And this was definitely a guy that I was happy to get from St. Louis. And the other guy we get is one of the better relievers in baseball today, Jordan Hicks, a guy that sits over 100 miles per hour. He's a power pitcher again, extreme ground ball. This is a guy that we can slot into our bullpen and hopefully not have to worry about him not performing as we would expect him to, having a solid year for the St. Louis Cardinals this year. And once again, a guy, he's been in the majors for 3 years. He's under team control for a while. He'll enter arbitration, but we should be able to get him on a pretty good deal. And for, the main piece in this I was upset to give away. I obviously wasn't upset to give away John Gray. He just wasn't doing it for us here in Colorado. He had a pretty solid 2019, but last year, of course, was very rough, and this year it did not get much better. So I really wanted it to work out, John Gray, but at 29, it doesn't make sense to wait around and hope that he figures it out. So while he still has some value, I wanted to include him in a trade package to where I could get some good pieces back. Brendan Rodgers, I also don't think that he's going to get it together in Colorado. He's had limited time playing in real life. You could see 2019, he only played 25 games at the major league level. OPS at a 522 clip. 2020, he really didn't play at all. But this year, we gave him a good opportunity. 87 games. He started 82 of them, and he just wasn't doing what we needed him to do. He was, a half a win player. And I need a little more from that. I might come back to regret this because he is only 24 years old. He turns 25 here in a few weeks, but I really don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. So another guy just like John Gray, I wanted to trade Brendan Rodgers while he still had some value. I know some Rockies fans might be upset about that, but it just seemed like the right thing to do, and especially getting a guy, or guys like Bader, Edmund, and Hicks in return, I was pretty content to get a package like this. And then the other two trades we made mainly just to load up the roster with serviceable veterans that can get us through to the end of the season. So I made a trade with the Los Angeles Angels, and where we traded Nick Bush in return for Alex Cobb and Jose Quintana. And this was just because we needed a couple of starting pitchers. So as we traded Marquez, we traded Gray, so we needed some guys to fill those slots, and we didn't really have anybody in the minor leagues that could do that. So that's why we traded for Cobb and Quintana. I'm not expecting a lot from them, especially pitching in Colorado. That's probably going to be a disaster for both of these guys, but I just need them to eat some innings and hopefully not get injured. They're both only on 1-year deals, so these are just 1-year rentals. They're not going to affect how much money we have in 2022 and beyond. So that was the reasoning for that deal. And then the final trade we made was with the Miami Marlins. We traded Daniel Bard, who was having a solid season. He kind of regressed a little bit as it went on, but still some solid traits there for a relief pitcher, especially at 36. Walken Cabrera, who was an outfield prospect that I didn't really think was ever going to contribute for us at any level. And Elias Diaz, who, if you remember the first part of this video, someone suggested maybe trade him while his value is high. I did that, and in return, I did get Miguel Rojas, who should bring some stability to our shortstop position now that we traded Trevor Story. You can see that he is elite defensively. His personality class is humble, high loyalty, and high work ethic. So it doesn't really work this way in OOTP, but maybe he can impart some veteran wisdom on the younger guys we have on the roster. And he's no slouch with the bat either. I know his stats might not look very good, but his batting grades aren't terrible. I'm not upset to get that, especially at the shortstop position, bring the defense that he does. He is signed through this season. He has a team option for 2022 at $5.5 million. I would not necessarily be against bringing him back, but we'll just see how the table falls, and we'll see what the free agent market is looking like, what our team's looking like, what options we might have to bring to the team, I should say. But that was that. That was our 2021, our first trade deadline. And if we go into, I want to go to front office and then salaries. I want to go to salaries. So the big albatross we have right now is Charlie Blackmon's contract. He's basically untradeable. I can't get off of that deal. Our only hope is that he opts out because he doesn't want to be here because the team is so bad. If that doesn't happen, then we'll have him on the books. At least, that's the good thing. I wouldn't mind paying him $10 million in 2023, but paying him 21, that kind of makes his contract untradeable for right now. We'll see if we can maybe do something with him next year, but regardless, Ian Desmond, he has a $15 million team option with a $0 buyout. So we're obviously not going to pick that up. So that contract will come off the books. Quintana's will come off the books. Perez has a team option that I probably will pick up. Kyle Freeland, we'll see if we want to offer him anything in arbitration. I don't know if we will. Cobb's contract comes off the books, so does Given. So we're going to have a lot of money to play with going into the 2021 offseason. If we go to finances, you can see right now we have $40 million for free agents and $48 million for extensions. That's, even if it just stays like that, that's still a lot of money to work with to bring in, solid players to help us maybe not contend for a World Series next year, but get back to playing 500 baseball, trying to get back to the playoffs where anything can happen. So as you can see, our fan interest is still good. The loyalty is still very good. And I guess that's all you can ask for. This team might lose over 100 games this season, but I am focused on the now and the future. And I think that with the moves that we made, it should help in both of those regards. So I will simulate up a little bit, maybe some point in August, maybe to the start of September, and just recap how the team is doing. And yeah, so that's something to look forward to. So stay tuned. All right, guys, it is Thursday, September 2nd. We are 42-91. I just wanted to check in one final time in this episode before we part ways for another day. And so I wanted to show what has gone on since we made the trades and So we made those trades on July 22nd, and since that day, from now up until today, September 2nd, we've gone 13 and 24, and that might not seem like a great record, and I mean honestly, it's not. But for a team like ours who has struggled so much, 13 and 24 actually isn't too bad. You can see August was actually one of our better months of the season, going 9 and 18. July even was one of our better months, especially after we made the trades, and then we've won our first game in September against Texas. You can see if you take a look at our schedule here. We got one of three games from the Dodgers, one of three from the Angels. We took one of four from the Padres, one of three from the Cubs. We actually swept the Marlins. That might be our first series sweep all season. And then we lost two to the Astros. We only took one of four from the Giants, but you see we lost 2-1. We lost 2-1. So that indicates to me that, like, looking at some of these scores, it indicates to me, like, at least the pitching is kind of getting a little bit better. Like, we're not getting totally blown out in a lot of games, which is good. You can see that, had some other wins around here, and then we just took 2 out of 3 from the Rangers, which I know the Rangers aren't very good, but still, it's always nice to get wins when you can get them. And I think another positive thing to go away on is that if we take a look at our player development update, a lot of our younger guys are getting better. So like Tommy Edmund, his current and potential contact ratings went up to 60. So now he's a 60 overall grade second baseman, which is nice. Tapia is getting better. His defense dropped a little bit, but his contact went up. His eye went up. Brett Conine, we take a look here. His control ratings, both his current and potential went up. Some more guys here. Jack Leiter is getting better, which is good to see. He's not stagnating after we drafted him. Chris McMahon is he's getting better as well, as is Drew Romo, Brandon Clark. So a lot of our younger guys, Tony Bullard. So a lot of our younger guys are getting better, which is really promising. And we just got this. Mateo Gil just went 5 for 5. We promoted him to single A, and it seems like he's doing pretty well there so far. This is one of the guys we got in the Arenado deal. You can see Valade's doing very well. He's probably going to be up with the big league club next year. He's going to be our third baseman. He was doing really well with Hartford, and now he's doing, it seems like, really well in AAA. So once again, I know it's the PCL, but it's still good to see that he is getting a lot of good performance on offense. If we take a look at our short list, I did create one for our top 2021 draft picks, and these guys, so all these guys are here. And if we take a look here at our top prospects going into the year, I'm going to keep guys like Sam Weatherly on here just to see how they do. But you can see that for the most part, like a lot of these guys are actually doing pretty well. We did call up Helicris Olivares from high A to double A, and he struggled a little bit so far, but still it was time to call him up, in my opinion. Like a lot of these guys, though, like they're doing pretty well. A guy like Zach Veen, too, is doing pretty well. Probably could have called him up, but he's only 19, so I think we'll keep him there and then start him at double A next season and then see where he goes. So even though the team itself right now, the Major League Club, is 42 and 91, it is promising that we have the prospects doing well. I mean, a lot of our teams are doing well too. You can see that the Spokane Indians 53 and 51, third right now. The Fresno Grizzlies 68 and 34, they were first. Our Arizona League team 35 and 21, first. The number 1 Dominican Summer League team 39 and 33, they were third. So I mean, even the Isotopes at 46 and 54, like I can't be too upset with that. So I can see promise ahead for the team, which is good. And we'll take a look to see how some of our guys have done since we acquired them. Corbin Burns, his ERA is up there, but his FIP is a few runs lower. Of course, a 491 FIP isn't great, but he did sprain his ankle in his first start against the Dodgers, so he missed a couple weeks, so he just came back, you see, in August. So that obviously I trade for this guy, and then he sprains his ankle start number 1. I'm not too worried about this. I think a full season with him is going to be fine, so I'm happy with that. Jose Quintana, once again, I said that this is probably going to be a disaster, and it has been for Quintana. He just pitched to an ERA close to 10. Alex Cobb, surprisingly, has been pretty reliable, which has been a complete surprise. I did not expect that. We'll take a look here at so Colton Welker, he has done very well here in his rookie season. He's OPSing close to 900, a WRC plus of 131. So he's going to be locked in as our starting first baseman next season. So that's one position we don't have to worry about. Charlie Blackmon, It's as I said, I would like to get off of his contract if I could, but a 761 OPS, it's 95 WRC plus. It's not great, but I don't know what else I could really expect. Tapia has cooled down a little bit, but I thought about trading him, but I'm going to keep him for a little bit. I think he could be a suitable outfielder for us. As a corner outfielder, I kind of wish he had a little more power, but I'm not going to be too picky at this point with the club. Harrison Bader, since he's come over from the Cardinals, he's done pretty much about the same. The average is lower, but the OPS is still pretty similar, which I guess is to be expected when you go from St. Louis to Colorado. You play summer games in Coors, but you can see he's still been a positive value player, and that indicates that defensively he's really helping us out. So you see, even though his OPS on the season is only 744, he's been a 4-win player, and that's pretty difficult to do unless you're really good defensively, and that's what he is. Tommy Edmund, you see that I said if he plays some of his games in Coors, I think his offensive numbers could get back up to where they were a couple of years ago, and that's exactly what's happened. An 840 OPS with the Rockies. He has 6 home runs, 17 RBI, and 115 WRC plus. So I'm excited to have him on the squad moving forward. Roberto Perez has not done as well offensively here as he did in Cleveland, which I'm a little upset about, but I think he does have some type of effect on our pitchers. They might not show it in the stats, but I do think that he is affecting them somehow in a positive way. Take a look at Jordan Hicks. He has had 13 appearances for us. He is not yet allowed to run, which is nice to see. Absolutely. Drew Rasmussen in his time with us, a 4.30 ERA, a 3.87 FIP, 20 strikeouts to 7 walks. I'm happy with that. Justin Tapa in his time here. Tapa, I'm sure it's one of those. Tupa? I don't know. One of those has got to be right. A 3.95 ERA, a 4.20 FIP, which is fitting in Colorado. And take a look here. We moved Elias Diaz to a middle reliever, and it seems like he's actually been getting a little better. His ERA was close to 5 there for a little bit. We called back up Tommy Doyle. He had a tough start. We called him up way earlier in the year, but it seems like he's getting a little better. Like the 286 FIP is encouraging. And then I think that's probably about it. I mean, Miguel Rojas, his offense has been the same, but I think defensively, so you can see he's still been a half-win player, even with the 663 OPS. So defensively, he's helping us out at shortstop, which is good. So we did put Ryan McMahon back into the lineup. We made him our starting third baseman. It doesn't seem like he's really turned it around. So, but we got Ryan Vilade coming up next year. So if you want to think about promising things, we have our first baseman of the future locked in Colton Welker. We'll have our third baseman of the future, Vilade, locked in. We have our center fielder of the future in Harrison Bader, so that's 3 positions locked in. We could see Tapia locking down an outfield spot, so that's 4 spots. Catcher, you can always find these guys anywhere, but even Perez, so that's 5. We have Corbin Burns. We have a pretty solid bullpen right now. Guys like Jordan Hicks, Rasmussen. I'm confident in Tommy Doyle long term. Justin Tupa, Tapa, Topa, whatever, Toga. So there's reason to be optimistic about this Colorado team, I feel like, and the prospects are doing well too. So there's reasons to be optimistic. I get that we're 42 and 91, but I think 2022 and beyond will be a lot better. We just had to slog through 2021. We had to get through the tough times. I think especially with the money we have available, we can sign guys to make the team better. And then I really do think in 2022 we'll be ready to make a push to at least 500 ball and hopefully more than that. But that'll do it for this episode. In the next episode, we'll finish up the season. We'll see if we did end up losing 100 games. I imagine that we will. And then we will enter into the 2021 offseason, which will be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll make some trades. Maybe we will sign some free agents. But we'll have some fun, certainly. So stay tuned for that. No OTP videos Saturday or Sunday. We'll come back. We'll revisit all this on Monday. So I'll leave y'all with just this group of 4 videos. Once again, I want to thank y'all for the support. And I'll see you guys again next week on Monday for the 2021 offseason. So thank you for watching. And I'll catch you guys again next time.